subscribe. Also Discord and Patreon in the description. If we get a couple more Patreons, we could even get the Minecraft server up. Hi all, this is Bree. I'm doing another one of those non-scripted sections of the video because I feel like in doing these I create a bit more of a honest, unfiltered, just what's off the top of my head style content. This video is a lot less serious than last month's. I'm thinking I'm going to be doing hopefully monthly scripted content. Really depends on my ability to stay focused. This month I am talking about Catan. This is the board game I've played a ton of, and if you've been friends with me for a while, I probably talked about it at one point or another. So yeah. Oh, also the content, the gameplay that you're watching right now, that is colonist.io. It's the free online way to play Catan. So yeah. Hi again, it's me Bree, talking about a video of a less serious tone than when compared to my previous one to talk about a hobby or interest of mine. So to anyone who's talked with me in private or on my Discord server, you probably at one point or another heard me talk about my favorite board game, Catan. Before I get too much into this video, I would like to state that this video is not one that is made to teach new players how to play. It would take a lot more work and would slow down my script writing capabilities, as I'm more just info dumping right now instead of actually taking the time to explain the core mechanics. If you want a video explaining how to play with all the extensions, cry about it. I'm Bree, this is my channel, I do what I want. Catan is a board game played with 2 to 4 players, or 6 if you have an expansion, with the core mechanics being based on the idea of material collection and societal growth. Each game of Catan is based on the simple idea of get to 10 points, again, unless you have expansions, in which case that number goes up, while giving the players multiple ways to do so. If I were to terribly compare it to another game, I would say it's comparable to Civilization. Yeah, I have absolutely no clue. I have never played the Civ series enough to actually care about it. But the core fundamental idea is that you progress your board state so that you'll be able to get more material, which will allow you to slowly snowball yourself towards the win. Some games can feel like total landslides, where others will be evenly matched until someone just happens to pull a free point development card or steal longest road to completely swing the game into their favor. I believe that the fundamental beauty of the game comes from the fact that there are so many capabilities, so much board variance, and such an interesting pacing that it genuinely keeps me interested as I go through it. Part of that comes from the game's design being so simple yet having mechanical depth, while the other part comes from the fact that even when it's not your turn, you're still making progress. Whenever someone else rolls, it's not like it's for nothing for you. Production affects all players, and the capability for a player to be able to end the turn with nothing and come back to the next turn with a loaded hand full of resources is not just common, it's completely expected for a successful game. Okay, cool, now we got the basics of Catan down, let's run down the major expansions, what I actually like and dislike about them. Starting with Cities and Knights. Cities and Knights is a Catan expansion which does not add to the actual board, unlike nearly every other major expansion, aside from Traders and Barbarians. We'll get to that one shortly. Instead of adding major new ideas to the main board of the game, Cities and Knights adds a few new pieces for the players, a reworked city, a third die, and a new threat to Catan, the Barbarians. Cities and Knights, to me, feels like a base game update in terms of Catan expansions. It wants to keep the core gameplay mechanics the same while introducing new ideas to allow for more strategy open. It wants to keep the core gameplay mechanics the same while introducing new ideas to allow for more strategies, options for victory, and of course, punishment for players not paying attention to the board state. The Barbarians function using this little tracker and this big fancy pirate ship, which I swear I don't use as the Pirate and Seafarers because it fits so much goddamn better. Why is the Pirate and Seafarer so tiny, classically fix? When the Barbarians reach the end of the track, they attack, and when that happens, if you don't defend, you get fucked. But the person who defends the least gets the most fucked. If you do succeed, the person who carried the board gets a point for having to deal with the lazy asses who didn't want to invest in soldiers for the whole goddamn game. Overall, I like Cities and Knights. It's an interesting addition which feels like it could just be part of the base game and nobody would bat an eye. On a scale of Huck, Stevens, and Alvins, I'd give it 3 misuse out of Victory over Truth, and no, I will not be explaining these rankings. Next up in the major expansions, we have what I consider to be one of the most finely made expansions in Catan, adding some of my favorite ideas for the game and allowing for the most creativity in board expansion. We have Seafarers. Seafarers asks one question: what if there were boats? And if you know anything about my preferences towards Zelda games, you already know that means it gets bonus points. In addition, it adds a couple gameplay changes which I quite like, with the option of either moving the robber, who prevents resources from being collected, or moving the pirate, who prevents players from expanding in the ocean, meaning that you can prevent expansion for players in two different ways. I quite like how it adds to the strategy, especially as it makes you consider what you need to do to keep your lead. Of course, aside from that, the gameplay changes are minor, adding a couple new hexes with the ocean and the gold hex. Gold is actually a reoccurring hex from a lot of the expansions, so keep an eye out for the following expansions to have it. Overall, Seafarers holds a special place in my heart, not only as my first ever expansion, but also as the expansion with boats. Can't even tell out of bruises. Moving on to the next expansion, let's look at the one that feels the most like a pile of random toys to play with, Traders and Barbarians. With Traders and Barbarians, you're given a variety of options to add minor changes to the game. All the scenarios given for this expansion are genuinely fun and simple to enjoy, while not adding too much to the game. It feels best as an intro to what expansions can be for newer Catan players because of the simplicity, easy to understand additions they add. From fishing to camels in the desert to the amazing gold hex coming back, this expansion gives a lot of options for your group to enjoy. For this expansion, I think I'm going to use a different metric, as Fox Stevens' songs don't really give the right vibe. I'd give this as an assorted candy bag out of red licorice. And now, for the true peak of Catan expansions. Adding so much that the box is nearly filled to the brim with parts when you first get it. We have Explorers and Pirates.
As we can see here, this is the stuff that I would be putting in to represent how big the board gets. I'm literally running out of desk space. I played this game upstairs in the living room with a much bigger desk, and when I'm trying to represent it here in my office, it is not working out. So yeah, back to the video.
Boats 2. Honestly, this is the peak Catan expansion. It's hard to match this. Every addition in this expansion feels like something I genuinely am interested and is fun to play with. It really feels like the pinnacle of expansions for Catan. We have fishing, like from Traders and Barbarians. We have pirates and boats from Seafarers. We have the gold hexes. It has the battles from Cities and Knights. It adds its own stuff with spice trading. Everything added in this expansion is a blast to play with, and with enough homebrewing, you can even make this work with the other expansions. I would not recommend it, however. If we're talking Fox Stevenson songs to compare this, I couldn't give this any ranking lower than simply Victory Over Truth. A value is so good and the game so fun that I cannot say anything other than if you have Catan, this is by far the best expansion of the game. So yeah, I like Catan a lot. This game means a lot to me, and hopefully this expansive review of all the Hold up. You're telling me there's more? Holy... I will not be talking about this in this video. All these versions, expansions, scenarios, or otherwise, are interesting in their own ways. I personally own a couple of them. That being said, I don't think I can really compare them to the massive game changers that are the 4 expansions I laid out in this video. The expansions for Catan, which are in the same box size as the base game, add so much and completely change how you play the game, whereas these take those ideas and try to add on to them, adding multiplayer cooperative modes, dragons, the likes. I think that they're generally all very interesting, except Crowd Trust. Fuck you. I get the message it's trying to send, but it's just so much less than Catan. And I think most of them are worth at least one play. Catan is my favorite board game, and it's really not that hard to see why. You create something so simple, but with so much variety, so many options, so many additions, and it's all based in a way where you can get consistently interact with the others around you. It's priceless. I love Catan. Yo, it's the end of the script thing. I get to do the thing where the people say the things with the people who spent the money. This video goes to the one Patreon that I got. Shoutouts to Prorbid. If you want to get shouted out here, yeah, it's $5.